After Angela Red Rayner is exposed as a tax-evading champagne socialist hypocrite fraud, the left in this country decide to patronise the working classes and women by turning this fraud into an issue of identity politics and misogyny.
The sexism and classism that's been thrown at Angela, not just by the Telegraph, but by Tory politicians, is hypocritical in the extreme, ill-deserved, and just basically shows them up because this is a woman with talent and charisma coming out of her fingers.
I'm going to support her already because, frankly, I feel like if we want to see women like Angela Rayner, who have a complicated background, who come from a working class background, a woman who had her first child when she was a teenager, then we need to be able to forgive her.
And just because it is Angela, with her accent and her background, people are treating her in a way they wouldn't that if a Tory MP who was born in wealth had a second home, which many of them do already.
Angela Rayner comes under sustained coverage because she's a working class woman in a way that, frankly, Nigel Farage, leading members of the shadow cabinet, never would.
So the regime media are not going to tell you what's really going on with Angela Red Rayner. But I will. There is now an insane left-wing plot to save this tax-evading champagne socialist hypocrite cheat of a deputy prime minister. And what's most disgusting is that they have conspired to use this privileged charlatan's working-class roots and her sex to defend the indefensible. Now, I am working class. My dad's family were miners in South Shields. They would never not pay their taxes and would be disgusted that we have a leader about to increase their taxes while avoiding a £40,000 payment on an £800,000 house. But you cannot hate the left in this country enough, because after hounding Conservatives out of office for far less, Rayner's truly serious and potentially criminal evasion is being excused because of her background. And this, let me tell you, is a planned line of attack, because we have seen it across the MSM, from union reps, from Labour stooges, from sympathetic journalists, and from actual cabinet ministers like Peter Kyle.
Angela being treated very differently to lots of other people. Whatever walk of life you're in, public life or not, you should be free to live and spend your spare time wherever you please. And it is right that somebody from Angela's background should be as aspirational as anyone else about having somewhere that she spends on a Sunday or in her spare time or in the school holidays so she can spend time with her kids as anyone else. And just because it is Angela, with her accent and her background, people are treating her in a way they wouldn't that if a Tory MP who was born in wealth had a second home, which many of them do already.
Lots and lots of people have complicated private lives. You know, the messiness of daily life is taken for granted, but that doesn't mean that you get a free pass not to pay the tax you owe.
Completely right. And that is why Angela is being totally upfront. That is why Angela took legal advice.
Which was wrong.
But I think all of us would rely on legal advice for which you have sought out, for which you have paid for, and is done by a qualified lawyer. And it is the basis of the legal advice that is in question here, not Angela's actions.
Shame on him. Because as Jack Elson pointed out, Peter Kyle among those tonight saying Angela Rayner has been treated very differently due to her accent and background, and that a Tory MP was born in wealth would not be getting such scrutiny. Tell that to Boris Johnson, Nadeem Zahawi, Owen Paterson, and all the Tories who were rightly scrutinised during the previous government. But he wasn't the only part of this circus, because our actual Chancellor, Rachel from Accounts, is now defending tax evaders in a pitiful hostage video.
I have full confidence in Angela Rayner. She's a good friend and a colleague. She has accepted the right stamp duty wasn't paid. That was an error. That was a mistake. She is working hard now to rectify that, in contact with HMRC to make sure that the correct tax is paid. Anyone that saw Angela's statement yesterday, saw her interview yesterday, I think will have a lot of sympathy with some of the challenging family circumstances around this, around Angela's disabled son. But of course it is right that people pay their right amount of tax, and it's important that people in public life lead by example, and that's why Angela has referred herself to the independent advisor on ethics, and it's why she's working with HMRC to make sure that she has paid all the proper taxes.
This is disgusting, given the tax hell that woman is about to unleash on all of us. And I'm sorry, she must go now too. How on earth can she literally stand there in front of the camera like a robot, defend tax evaders and avoiders? But the thing is, the script came from on high. It was very obvious that she didn't want to say that, did she? And we saw the same script from Rayner's trade union allies.
Clearly she's made a mistake and she referred herself to the Standards Commission, but I think the Prime Minister was very clear today that he's standing by the Deputy Prime Minister. People do make mistakes, and it's important when they do make mistakes that they hold their hands up and we move on. But I would also say this, I mean, I think Angela Rayner comes under sustained coverage because she's a working class woman in a way that, frankly, Nigel Farage, leading members of the Shadow Cabinet never would. I think there's a real heavy dose of misogyny when it comes to Angela, but as far as I'm concerned, the Prime Minister's got faith in her, and I think the country's got faith in her as well.
We saw it from her former senior Labour front bench colleagues.
Is carelessness ever a cause for resignation, or are you free from resignation? Is it a get-out-of-jail-free card to say, I was a little bit careless, but I wasn't, willful?
Well, I think even a jokey mention of jail just doesn't work, really, because she isn't going to jail. This isn't a criminal offence. She's made a mistake, which she has apologised for. She is going to correct it. She said she's going to pay it. I don't know what the quality of advice was that her solicitor gave her, but most of us, when we buy a house, we get a conveyancing lawyer, we ask them what we owe, they tell us, we pay it. That's what happens. Okay. And
anyway, look, we'll see
that sounds like what she's done. And she's supremely talented politician, in my view. The sexism and classism that's been thrown at Angela, not just by the Telegraph, but by Tory politicians, is hypocritical in the extreme, ill-deserved, and just basically shows them up, because this is a woman with talent and charisma coming out of her fingers.
But as Kirsty Allsop raged, this is fucking bollocks. It is not sexism or classism. It's people not liking being told to pay a tax which those imposing the tax find ways to avoid. But again, we saw the same script being pulled in debates on GB News full of lefties. If you're enjoying what we're doing here on Outspoken, please consider joining our thriving community over on Substack, www.outspoken.live. You can sign up completely for free, but Substack is so important to me. It is a free speech platform. It protects me from big tech cancellation. Plus, you get to communicate directly with me. Head on over www.outspoken.live, enter your email address and sign up today.
And male the same, and the son I expect the same. It makes me so cross because it's not just misogyny, but it's also class.
Me? No, I'm not going to wait and see. I'm going to support her already because, frankly, I feel like if we want to see women like Angela Rayner, who have a complicated background, who come from a working class background, a woman who had her first child when she was a teenager, then we need to be able to forgive her as readily as we forgive men who come from backgrounds where they have access to multiple millions of pounds of resources and support and all of the rest. And people keep on saying, oh, what does it matter if the amount we're talking about is multiple millions of pounds or if it's 40,000 pounds? Well, the average person understands the massive difference that it makes, the very different environment in which a woman like Angela Rayner has to fight to survive and to have a stable family life.
So you forgive her. So you forgive her. Hang on, let's just get this right. So you forgive her because she's from a very working class background, and I acknowledge her backstory is awesome. It's very impressive. But you wouldn't forgive her if she came from a middle class background if she'd blundered.
I forgive her because See, this is not fraud. This is an oversight, right? And this is not a woman who is from an upper middle class background.
Oh, for God's
with
sake!
Millions of pounds in the bank.
Oh, for God's sake! She's got advisors at her disposal. She's the Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Secretary. Her background's got nothing to do with it.
It absolutely has something to do with it.
Yeah, Paul.
I'm sorry, enough of that. Just listening to that woman's voice raises my blood pressure. Then on LBC, you got the same script from Champagne socialists like Dragon's Den star Deborah Meaden, the woman who had no problem calling for Boris Johnson to resign time and again for far less.
Do you think she can keep her job?
I think it's a little bit of a... Of course it's not right, but I do think it's a little bit of a side issue and a distraction at the moment. Do you know what I really, really worry about, Tom? We spend so much time talking about those issues that are really raised by people with vested interests to bring somebody down. Or
It's a
we
fair
talk
thing to
about
ask, though,
nothing,
isn't it?
or we
She's
do
the housing-
nothing
she's the
about
housing
it.
minister.
Yeah, well, I do agree with that. I do absolutely, it's wrong. Absolutely, without a doubt, it's wrong. But I do think that we are spending a lot of time talking about issues that are not fundamentally going to impact everybody's lives. And I talk
So
about
she can
that,
keep
and I
her
talk
job.
about migration.
Yeah, so she can keep her job.
Oh, Tom, I don't know, as the answer.
The hypocrisy is on another level. And I mean, remember how Rayner herself went for Nadeem Zahawi in one of her many deranged campaigns while in opposition.
Number 10 apparently still doesn't know if other ministers are in dispute over their own taxes. So what is the Prime Minister doing about it? Last week, he told the House all questions had been answered, and he was told that there was no outstanding issues. Yet now, the independent advisor is investigating. So will he publish the terms of reference? And why does the Prime Minister need an advisor to tell him that this conduct is unethical? If this isn't a breach of the ministerial code, surely the code itself is wrong, Mr. Speaker, and it's the Prime Minister's job to fix it. If the Prime Minister came clean about what he knew and when, and took responsibility for the conduct of his own cabinet, would we need yet another investigation into another member of his top team? Even now, Number 10 says the party chair retains the Prime Minister's full confidence. How can the Prime Minister claim to deliver the integrity, professionalism and accountability that he promised, while his Conservative Party chair still sits in his cabinet?
Every word could now be used against her. And as Nadeem Zahawi said on X, in what I thought was the post of the day, do you think about my children, Angela Rayner? Breaks my heart seeing anybody distressed about their children, but the hypocrisy really does hurt. And I mean, all of Rayner's old campaigns, which were so over the top, make her current position untenable.
Holding any position in public life should mean upholding the highest standards of ethics and integrity. But the cronyism, sleaze and scandal we've seen over the past decade has undermined trust in politics and public life at home and abroad. Misconduct and sleaze has a direct impact on a government's ability to deliver for the public. Transparent and accountable government is key to delivery. Cleaning up politics is about ensuring government actually delivers for the people.
Okay, only one person got this right in the regime media today. It was Julia Hartley-Brewer, who destroyed the idea that Rayner was in any way a victim of classism or sexism.
The thing is, people say, oh, they got a problem with Angie because she's working class, they don't want her in power. As much as I disagree with her on virtually every single issue, as a person, as a woman, I like her. I've had two quite long sort of, sessions chatting with her, okay, alcohol was involved. She's good fun. You'd like her. I like another gobby woman. She's good fun. Honestly, but she's quite clearly a Chancellor who thinks she's cleverer than she actually is in terms of how she can do rinky-dink deals. Dodge a little bit of council tax here, dodge that. Oh, none of it's illegal. None of it's illegal, ever. It's just all a bit complicated. No one else I know has complicated tax affairs like that.
But we are currently in a parallel universe where the Prime Minister was genuinely more angry today about this graffiti outside Rayner's house than the fact his deputy is a tax-avoiding champagne socialist hypocrite cheat. That's because we have a clown government. Indeed, when asked in a relatively softball British bashing corporation interview if he would sack Rayner if it was confirmed she has indeed broken the rules, he wouldn't respond.
Angela Rayner has broken the ministerial code. Will you sack her?
Well, Angela Rayner has referred herself to the independent advisor. My experience is he will be comprehensive in the report that he gives me.
And
He'll
direct
be quick.
often.
He will be quick, and that's what I'm expecting. And so I want to let that process take its course. I did strengthen that process, so she's
but there's
done
a
the right thing,
principle though here,
referred
though,
to
isn't
the
there?
independent advisor, and now he will do his work and report back to me.
Sure, but there's a principle here, whether or not in that instance you would have a minister in your government who had broken the ministerial code. Were that to be the conclusion?
Well, as I say, the right thing is to refer herself to the independent advisor. He has a reputation for being comprehensive and being quick, and that's what I'm expecting in this
Next day
case.
or so?
Well, I can't say, but I think he will be quick. I mean, that's usually how he operates, and I think that would be a good thing in this particular case. Obviously, I will look very carefully, as you'd expect, to whatever report he puts in front of me.
Would you not just explicitly say if a minister has broken the ministerial code, they'll be sacked?
Well,
and you're not saying that.
What I'm saying is there's a clear procedure. I strengthened that procedure. It is now taking place. I am expecting a result pretty quickly. I do want it to be comprehensive, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I will act on whatever the report is that's put in front of me.
Well, I'm sorry. Why the hell was the BBC not asking him about the revelations from the Daily Telegraph today, which were actually more sick-inducing? As Chris Rose reported, Angela Rayner used £160,000 from a trust set up to care for her disabled son to buy the £800,000 seafront flat at the centre of a sleaze inquiry. It's over for her. Her crocodile tears won't work. You're a disgrace. Resign. Samantha Smith added, Rayner called right-wing MPs scum. But I don't think I've ever heard of anything scummier than financially abusing your disabled son. Indeed, as my friend Alison Pearson pointed out, Rayner's new sob story about her family makes absolutely no sense, given that in 2020, she paid tribute to the wonderful NHS for her miracle baby, forgetting to mention that in the same year, there was a legal settlement with the NHS for alleged negligent care of the baby, and she received hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money. So let me be clear. Rayner is the one playing disgraceful politics with her family's private business, not us. And of course, this whole farce was started yesterday by Beth Rigby of Sly News, interviewing her old pal, Angie.
Was there a moment as a mum, not as Angie Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister, where you thought, I'd rather just quit this than have to actually explain about my son who I'm trying to protect? Did you think about just packing it in rather than having to do this now?
I spoke to...
Oh, and Beth's now trying to say, oh, no, I'm not friends with Angie. Could have fooled me. Watch. But first, we've always associated chocolate with weight gain. But did you know it's actually been shown to help with fat loss? Studies show that cocoa flavonols, the active compounds in high-quality cocoa, can support fat metabolism, improve insulin sensitivity, and even help reduce abdominal fat. But you'd have to eat so much chocolate to get those benefits that the sugar and calories would cancel them out, or worse, lead to weight gain, not to mention the heavy metals like lead and cadmium found in many cocoa products. This is why I drink Morning Bean, by Verso. It's a rich chocolate blend with all the proven benefits of cocoa without the junk. Every batch is third-party tested for heavy metals, so you're getting pure high flavanol cocoa you can actually feel good about. Instead of caffeine, it uses theobromine, a natural compound in cocoa that delivers all-day energy without overstimulating your nervous system. Plus, its ingredients are shown to support muscle growth and performance, improve metabolism, and provide micronutrients from superfoods and electrolytes to rehydrate and fuel your body. So yes, chocolate can help you lose fat, just not in the candy bar form. Since tanking Morning Bean, I've turned my morning ritual into something that supports my energy, my metabolism, and my goals. So start your day with Morning Bean for research-backed detox, energy, and health. Click the link below or visit morning.ver.so/outspoken and use the code outspoken for 15% off. That's morning.ver.so/outspoken, or just click on the link in the description box below. But now, back to the show.
I'm back and I'm powering up the battle bus.
Have you got your own battle bus?
I have got a battle bus.
Has it got your name on the side?
You'll have to wait and see. I'll let you on it.
Okay, so you've got your own battle bus, an Angela Rayner battle bus is about to be unleashed.
An Angela Rayner battle bus. Yes.
Wow.
You're going to love it.
I'm coming on it.
It's got a fridge.
Absolutely sickened you seen. Now Beth's fellow Sly News COVID party gal, Kay Burley, has got in on the act, slamming Priti Patel for calling Angie Rotten Rayner. She posted on X, whatever your view on the Angela Rayner story, I cannot accept that another high-ranking female politician who has herself fallen victim to the odd challenge would feel it appropriate to use the hashtag Rotten Rayner. Totally unacceptable behaviour. But as I reminded Kay, I'd love to see your condemnation of Angela Rayner for calling all Tories scum. Oh, that's right, Kay, it doesn't exist. Indeed, the conduct of Sly News is now under the microscope, with Andy Wigmore writing, "Shame on you, Beth Rigby. That was like a lovin' with your best mate, not an interview. If that had been anyone else, you would have been screaming like a banshee for them to resign." And Aaron Banks added, "More like Sky did a softball interview to break the fall. Politics is a dirty business." Peter Lloyd responded to Rigby's very obvious sympathy by writing, "Beth, you repeatedly asked Boris Johnson about his kids as you hounded him out of office." And he also questioned why our female politicians are celebrated for turning on the tears, adding, "Emotionally incontinent women have ruined UK politics, turning Westminster into a reality show for the mediocre and menopausal. No male leader would ever be so unprofessional, not even the loathsome Blair." And I have to say, not all females buy into the sympathy for Rayner argument, with Sophie Corcoran arguing, "I don't have any sympathy for Angela Rayner. She is always the first one calling for MPs to resign or calling people scum. She can't play victim now, and nor should we be expected to view her as one." Or Sarah Vine, who said if Angela Rayner had showed just an iota of sympathy for farmers or pensioners or any of the other people Labour have shafted, one might feel sorry for her. But she was always so scathing of Tory scum. People in glass second houses shouldn't throw stones. And Katie Hopkins summed it up in her own unique style, writing, "The ginger growler has got to go. Turns up looking like shit Elton John and can't even play the bastard piano. The only thing she plays is the bastard system." Also going viral today, Jeremy Clarkson, who writes, "I'm puzzled. Labourites tell us that Angela Rayner was only trying to look after her child, which they quite rightly say is understandable. But when a farmer tries to look after his children, they say he's a tax dodger." Sometimes our government feels like such a clown world you have to laugh, as Dapper Laughs did, while poking fun at Starmer deciding to defend the indefensible.
Angela Rayner was advised by cheap lawyers. I've given her the phone number to the very same lawyers that we used to fight the will of the people in Epping. She will never lose again. In fact, she will go on to avoid tax in different areas. I believe Angela Rayner could not have done any more to avoid getting caught. She done everything she could. You know, she used every recommended loophole that this government could come up with to avoid paying tax. Listen, it was just a little boo-boo, a little mistake in the paperwork. And she has taken the advice of our media team, and she's revealed a couple of home truths, little family secrets, to humanise her to the great British people. And as I stand next to her, as she attempts to build 1.5 million homes for herself and illegal immigrants, I'm proud. And listen, if you're going to build 1.5 million homes, you should at least get one tax-free. After all, I've said it before and I'll say it again, what is the point of being in a position of power unless you can use it to your own advantage? And if I see any of you tweeting about this later on, you'll get nicked quicker than Graham Linehan can punch a woman in the bollocks.
Now, the superstar panel is here. Jim Ferguson, Paula London, welcome to Outspoken. On one of those days where I feel like I'm living in a parallel universe, Paula. I mean, can you believe this insane plot to try and say that this is all down to the fact that Angela Rayner is a working class woman? I say, how bloody offensive is that to working class women?
It is. She said that's great. It's been actually quite funny, though, having a look what's been going on social media. But, I mean, a lot of identity-based politics, they are being deployed at the moment, but it's just not working. Lots of arguments. I just don't really know what's going on. And I think it's very bad of her to try to blame the solicitor. She knew exactly what she was doing. She is the housing minister. And there's also been other discussions before about her council house. So, yeah, I think she's had a good run. I don't even think she should have been an MP in the first place. She doesn't even have basic maths or English GCSE. And I think she's a bit of an embarrassment to us on the world stage.
Jim Ferguson, she's now trying to blame her local high street solicitor as if she's some innocent damsel in distress, not the Deputy Prime Minister, not the Housing Secretary, not a very rich woman with access to a huge amount of resources.
Well, Dan, great to see you and great to be on with you and Paula. Look, the buck stops with her. She's the Deputy Prime Minister. She knows exactly what she was doing, and there are no excuses. But this really goes to show a lack of leadership within our current government, not only from the Prime Minister, who won't come out and say if she's broken the ministerial code that she'll be sacked. No, they are weak, they are ineffective, and they are really, really bad for Britain. Look, what we're seeing here is just indicative of a much, much wider problem. You know, over the last 2 to 3 days, I have done a lot of research online. The mood of the country, I've never seen it, Dan, so angry with this government. From the censorship to the rising crime levels, the mass illegal immigration. I mean, the whole thing is at tinderbox stages. And what we now see with Angela Rayner doing what she's done, and then the far left trying to justify it because she comes from a working class background, is indefensible, in my opinion.
100%. 100%. And then, Jim, today, Starmer genuinely more furious about this graffiti. A little bit of graffiti on Rayner's property. Now, of course, that is not a good thing, but where is the anger regarding the fact that his Deputy Prime Minister has made a laughingstock of his government by avoiding £40,000 in stamp duty when they're probably about to put up stamp duty on the rest of us?
Well, there's one law for them and there's one law for the rest of us. And if we do anything, whether we put a social media post up that they don't like or it causes offence to certain groups, they'll come in with their stormtroopers, kicking the doors in, putting you in handcuffs and putting you in prison. Preachers aren't allowed to preach in the street any longer. It's just bizarre. And our friends in America are watching all this unfolding. They cannot believe that Britain is falling into this kind of disrespect. And we deserve so much better in terms of leadership. Our friends across the European continent are seeing this as well. They're aghast. They cannot believe this crisis of leadership in the United Kingdom right now. It's not good enough. She's got to resign. She's got to go. And if she won't resign, Starmer's got to get a backbone and he's got to sack her.
Paula, I have to ask you, as the woman here today, what you thought about Peter Lloyd saying, look, these ladies who are making an art of crying and sobbing to try and gain sympathy are actually really doing a disservice to women in politics overall.
100%. Like, I'm a strong woman. It takes a lot for me to cry. But we've got crocodile tears from Angela. We've had tears from Rachel Reeves. And so many men do think that some women shouldn't be in high-powered positions. What they're doing is making men think, actually, we're right. They don't seem strong enough. And what I think is very bad as well, when they cry, they seem to think that that they're going to get away with that. So.
By the way, it's not looking good for Red Rayner. A little bit of breaking news. This in the last minute from the Daily Telegraph, which has been on this story from the start. Guido Fawkes posting about this on X. Let me just show you what they've said. Verico and Associates, the conveyancing firm for purchase of the £800,000 Hove flat, have told the Daily Telegraph, we acted for Ms. Rayner when she purchased the flat in Hove. We did not and never have given tax or trust advice. We probably are being made scapegoats for all this. I just don't understand how she can survive this now, Paula. I mean, she would have to, given this is what this conveyancing firm is saying, she would have to now produce some other legal advice that she was given. But I don't believe this advice exists. And I think this could be the nail in her coffin.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't say that Jonathan Reynolds gave her advice, the fake speaker. I don't know what's going on. And if she does say that a solicitor gave her the wrong advice, they could get struck off. So she just needs to hold her hands up. As I said earlier, she's had a good run. I don't think she ever should have been an MP. And I think she needs to just quit. It's absolutely untenable. Obviously, she's the housing minister. We had the other debacle about the council house as well. We've had all of her tweets. Again, say one wall for some, another wall for another. It's just ridiculous. She needs to go. This government is crazy. Obviously, we've had the corruption minister leave because of corruption. We have the homeless minister leave because of their actions making someone else homeless. It's like the joke party. We are a joke all around the world. And let's not forget, PMQs is watched by millions of people around the world. And it's like a Punch and Judy show. It's absolutely ridiculous now. She just needs to go.
Yeah, this is not looking good. This is not looking good at all for Red Rayner. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.